Okay, what I'm going to talk about is just a place where I grew up. I'm going to fill you in on some stories and stuff. Some are funny, some are not so funny. Um, just life growing up. Northern beaches of Sydney, in the roughest area, northern beaches of Sydney. Everyone used to think it was a paradise to live on the northern beaches. Well, not if you lived in a place called Crim Hill. It wasn't. Yeah, it's short for Criminal Hill. Yeah, or Waggaweena was another name for it. Its real name was Narrowena, which meant quiet place on a hill. But, yeah. Anyway, I was born in the 70s, so well, I have trouble with dates and stuff, and you'll find out why later in one of the stories. But anyway, the first story I'll tell you is about the first fight I ever had. It was with my best mate growing up, and named Crido. Of course, in Australia, everyone has a nickname. Anyway, it would have been third class, I think. It's either third class or fourth class. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, me and Crido met each other before we even started school, because we both started playing rugby league when we were like 4 years old. Full field with a full-size football, which for people listening overseas, if anyone ever listens to this, that's rugby league, not rugby union. And it was a pretty violent game back in those days. Still a tough game now, body contact and that, but back then, fights, just dirty tactics. So yeah, even when you're a kid. Crido and I both went to Narrowena Public School. The public school was just the Mountables, Muffin Flash, like just asphalt, 1 footy field. About it. Separated into two sections, like infants and normal primary school. It was right on the corner across the road's the shopping centre, which is just a small strip shops on a T-junction. And yeah, no, getting back to the fight. Growing up in Australia back in those days, total different Australia to what it is today. Back then, the only migrants you really had were Italians, some Greeks. Basically, that was it in Narrowena. I mean, later on, in like the 80s, Tongans and stuff started to come. But anyway, back to the fourth class. There was just Italians and Greeks and stuff, which were what we called wogs back in the day. And before my day, they were called Dagos. I don't know how that came about, but anyway, either of them actually. I don't know how either name came about, but that's what they were called. And we grew up watching TV shows like On the Buses, Love Thy Neighbour, Kingswood Country. So you had Kingswood Country was an Aussie show, and that was your bloody Dago, your wog, all the way through that show. Then you had like Love Thy Neighbour was your Pommy Nignog, any black pommy. And I'm actually a migrant of two English parents, which anyone that's ever met me can't believe it when I tell them. Or even, like, I'll go out at night, meet people at the pub or whatever, and, if there's Islanders or Maoris are there, they always assume that I'm a Maori or Islander of some sort. And sometimes that gets a bit hairy, just because they want to give you the old nose-to-nose kiss. Hello, whatever you call the thing. And, that freaks me out. Not coming from that culture. But they find it disrespectful when I don't do it, so it's pretty hard when a big drunk Maori wants to do that. Anyway, getting back to the fourth class, Crito was stirring me up, which most Aussies do. We stir each other up all the time, even at that age. And he started calling me a pommy nignog. Now, I grew up in a house of very proud English, white English, I should say. And from like my father came from a very violent part of London where everyone fought. Like my dad grew up with a boxer called Henry Cooper. He fought Muhammad Ali. Like these people you didn't muck around with. My grandfather was I don't know if you're old like me, you'll remember a show called Minder that used to be on TV. Well, that's what my grandfather did after the Second World War. He was a minder. He'd go around and collect money, beat people up for a living. So that's the type of mentality I grew up with. You had to be tough, but I'm not a big guy. I'm only small. But for some reason, I thought I was big. But anyway, Crudo's hassling me, calling me a pommy nignog. So I've gone, all right, you're on. And he goes, when? I said, after school, on the corner. So all day, it was in the morning, so all day I've had to sweat. That's a lesson I learnt from a very young age. All day I had to stress out about having a fight. Came to the end of school. The time I got to the corner, there was already a huge crowd waiting. Like the rumour gets around, everyone wants to see it. So yeah, me and Crito started throwing leather at each other. And I've missed him a few times. Then he's cracked me a beauty in the nose, and my nose is pouring out with blood. And then I got angry. So I just ran at him, picked him up, and put him on his head. He grabbed him in the headlock, started clubbing him. And then because my nose was bleeding, I had all watery eyes, I couldn't see anything. I was so angry, I just started blowing my nose and blowing all the blood all over him. And anyway, he's looked down and seen all the blood all over his nice clean white shirt. And his mum was a psycho, man. He's freaked out and gone, oh no, my mum's going to kill me. Oh. So I'll let him go. Then that was it. Then my brother's watching. He's 4 years older than me. He's a bit of a hard man himself. Way harder than me, I assume, from what I've heard. And anyway, he's giving it to me like he always did. There was nothing I ever did was good enough for that bloke. And he's like, yeah, you're useless, mate. You're useless. You should have done this. You should have done that. Yeah, all this sort of stuff. I'm like, I've never had a fight before. I don't know what I'm doing. No one taught me. Anyway, that's an intro to the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it.